You go to bed tonight, you pull up your blanket, you scroll your phone for 40 minutes, watching videos of dogs failing to catch frisbees, and eventually, after 3 trips to the kitchen for no reason, you fall asleep. Simple, comfortable, honestly, kinda beautiful. Now, imagine doing all of that minus the blanket, the phone, the bed, the walls, and the kitchen. Imagine, instead, sitting in a pitch-black forest, wrapped in animal skin, listening to something massive moving in the bushes just 20 feet away. That was a typical Tuesday for our ancestors. And it brings up a question that nobody really asks. What did they actually do at night? When the sun went down, when the world went completely black, when predators started waking up, and your only survival tool was a sharp rock and a vague sense of optimism, what was the plan? Did they just sit there, staring into the void, mentally preparing for the worst, like a prehistoric version of someone waiting for their IKEA furniture to arrive? We spend a third of our entire lives asleep, and we rarely stop to think about how radically different that experience was for 99% of human history. The answer, as it turns out, is weirder, more fascinating, and honestly so much more human than you'd ever expect. Let's go back, way back. Before we had fire under control, before we had tools worth bragging about, early humans were dealing with a very simple and very terrifying problem. Half of every single day was spent in complete, absolute, crushing darkness. Not the "street lights are annoyingly bright through my curtains" darkness, but the kind where you hold your hand in front of your face and see absolutely nothing. And in that dark, things hunted. Lions, hyenas, leopards, saber-toothed cats, almost all the major predators of the ancient world were most active at dawn, dusk, and during the night. When the sun went down, early humans went from being hunters to becoming a reasonably nutritious snack option for something with built-in night vision. The forecast was dark, with a high chance of being eaten. So, you grouped up. You got somewhere high or enclosed. Caves were premium real estate because a space with only one entrance is nature's first security system. You could put your back to the rock and know exactly where the danger was coming from. Groups slept together in these spaces, close enough to share body heat and hear each other breathe. Someone was always a light sleeper, always stirring, inadvertently keeping watch. And then, around 400,000 years ago, everything changed. Fire. The moment early humans gained reliable control over fire, the entire dynamic of the night shifted. Fire creates a boundary, a psychological wall of light between you and the dark that predators simply won't cross because they evolved to hunt in darkness. But fire didn't just protect early humans, it fundamentally transformed what human beings were. Think about what happens around a campfire. You can't be productive in the modern sense. What you can do is sit, look at each other, and actually be present. Researchers studying modern hunter-gatherer societies found something remarkable. Daytime conversation is mostly practical logistics: who is hunting, what needs gathering. But nighttime conversation is completely different. Around the fire, people tell stories. Long, emotionally rich, morally layered stories. Roughly 80% of all nighttime campfire conversation is storytelling. Every single evening for tens of thousands of years, human beings sat around fires and narrated the world to each other. The campfire was the cinema, and the storyteller was the screen. Without books or writing, these stories were the hard drive of human civilization, acting as the ultimate catalyst for language, empathy, and complex social bonding. Now, about sleep itself, because this is where things get genuinely strange. Most of us assume that the natural, healthy way to sleep is one continuous 8-hour block. If you wake up at 3 in the morning and can't fall back asleep, you assume something is wrong, and by 4, you've diagnosed yourself with a sleep disorder. But historically speaking, that assumption might be completely wrong. For most of human history, people didn't sleep in one block, they slept in 2. It was called first sleep and second sleep. You'd go to bed a couple of hours after dark, sleep for about 4 hours, and then wake up naturally, not in a panic, just surfacing calmly, like from a pleasant daydream. You'd stay awake for an hour or two, and then drift back to sleep until morning. During this waking window in the middle of the night, people did everything. They prayed, reflecting in what was considered the most sacred time of day. They thought about their dreams, tended the fire, checked on livestock, and even visited neighbors. It wasn't insomnia or a malfunction. It was just the night doing what it always did. The only reason this pattern collapsed is artificial lighting, which pushed our bedtimes later and compressed our sleep into a single unnatural block. But the deeper you dig into how ancient humans slept, the more impressive it gets. 200,000 years ago in South Africa, humans were already constructing deliberate sleeping platforms out of specific vegetation, and beneath those beds, they laid down ash to repel ticks and insects. They were doing pest control before the concept even existed, applying the scientific method to get a better night's rest. In Ice Age Europe, groups used communal sleeping as a living insulation system against freezing temperatures, naturally rotating sentinels based on how deeply different people slept. And beyond just surviving, ancient cultures mastered the dark. The Maya built observatories to track planets and stars. Polynesian navigators crossed thousands of miles of open ocean using nothing but the night sky and ocean swells. Mesopotamian scholar priests read the stars for omens, while Iron Age metalworkers in Zimbabwe deliberately fired their forges at night because the darkness allowed them to see the subtle color changes in hot metal with absolute precision. When we ask what ancient humans did at night, we often imagine something small and scared. People huddled on rocks, passively enduring the darkness and waiting for morning. But that is exactly backwards. The night was when humans told the stories that became culture. It was when they woke in the quiet middle hours to think and connect, when they read the sky for messages, navigated the world, and mastered their environment. We traded most of that away for electric light, which was absolutely worth it, but we also lost touch with the natural rhythms of our own biology. So, the next time you wake up at 3 in the morning and lie there inexplicably alert, with thoughts moving clearly through your mind like water, don't panic. Don't reach for your phone. Just lie there in the dark for a little while. Think whatever you need to think. Be awake the way your ancestors were awake. Quietly, completely, in the middle of the night that has always been yours. You're not malfunctioning. You're remembering.